So again, it's just demo. You can get into the demo site at any time to try something out or to explore a little. It is a production system just with test data. And then we have two options. The MyPMS demo site is more of like a hotel. The other one, obviously, like a B&B, it's like 3 or 4 rooms. Once you're in to do agent management, you're going to want to go to the setup area. You can only get to the setup link if your user is set up as a manager. Once you're in the setup area, it obviously defaults to rates, but what we're going to work on is our relationships, which are the different agents. And an agent really is just a different distribution channel, if you kind of think of it that way. Yes, travel agents make bookings, but really under your agent relationships, these are different channels that you can distribute your room rate combos. So essentially, every channel can have different room type allocations and rate combos linked to it. So one thing you want to look at is BC is traditionally your website. So that is where you would be controlling the room type and rate combos that you sell on your website. Now you can see that it can over allocate here of a 66 to 46. So essentially what you're doing is they're offering multiple rate plans to the same room type. So if we click on the rooms allocated, which is where you always go to verify what you have and to add new allocations, you can see this has a King Fireplace, the King ID, with a rate plan called King. Here we also have a 2 double with a double rate plan. Here's where you can see we have multiple rate plans assigned to the same room type. So we have a standard 2 queen room with both an education package, the normal suite rate, and a dinner package. So when you create a package, it really just acts as a rate plan. So what I can do is I can go ahead and I can add the 2 double beds with also the dinner plan. Even though that package might have been set up for the standard queen, I can add it to this one as well, just by going to the add allocations, choosing the 2 double, and then on the rate plan, I have a choice of all the different rate plans I offer, including a package. Packages show up as a rate plan once they're created. So I can assign that and save that. So what we've done there is we've now allocated the 2 double with a suite dinner package. So the way that works, it looks like you're selling more rooms than you have, but the system is smart enough to know that you only have 13 of these 2 doubles. And when you sell 13, it doesn't matter which rate plan they buy with it, there's none left. So the nice thing about that is you can control the room type rate combo in different channels. So if I go back to agent relationships, BC is the website. BCM would be your members area, and that's traditionally not used in the MyPMS product. The MyPMS software, that's actually your software. So on this one, you can see we've allocated multiple rate plans. This would have your corporate rates, your AAA rates, any kind of discount, like 10% or 15% discount rate can be allocated. So all of your room types can have 4 or 5 different rate plans assigned to them. And if we take a look at that, you can see just looking at the King, it has 4 different rate plans assigned to it. It has a package, a corporate, a AAA, and another package. So you can put as many different rate plans to room combos into the software itself. And so that would be just clicking on the MyPMS, you would click on the allocation screen, and then add, and again, just choosing a room type, choosing a rate plan, and saving it. So that's essentially what the agents are. They're just different ways to combine your room type and rates and put them in different channels to sell. So the basic ones, what we call the master agents, are your website and the software itself and the GDS. Oftentimes in the GDS, you'll want to increase those rates. And so for that, we call rate loading. It's a simple way to just bump up the rate that's being distributed in that channel. So what we find is y'all know that you have to manage your rates. So if you have a standard rate and you apply it in different channels, it's the same rate in all those channels. And then you only have to manage it once, up and down over your seasons for your events. What the nice thing about that is then if you want to distribute it into the GDS or a net rate, you can still use that same rate plan, and you can just use rate loading to increase it to offset any commissions in that channel. It's a nice way that it creates a little less work for you because you don't have to manage multiple rate plans. You can manage a single rate plan and have the rate loading take care of the increase and decrease in the value on that room. So you can see here WR has an increase of 12%. So that means if we had a $100 rate, if someone were to buy that room in the GDS, it would be $112. Same as goes for this promo rate. So here we have a minus 15. So that $100 rate would sell for around 85. So it deducts it in that channel. So that's just kind of a little bit about overall, they're just rate plan room combos in different channels. So they're being sold in different places. And you can control that. You can say, for booking.com, this is a net rate where you can sign an agreement with booking.com, give them a certain number of rooms. Here we're only selling one room rate combo. Not all of them, just one. We can decide what we sell in that channel. Okay. We also have promos and unique URLs. Those are down here. We call these a PMS agent. So what would happen here is if we went to the My Agents tab, here you can add in your own agents. And so the beauty of this is that you can say, I want this agent and I'm going to give it to someone with a specific URL, and then they can book it. So in this case, Travel Agent A. We set it as a wholesale. So that's just a term. So when you're building your agent and you click new, you have three choices. Standard is just an agent and it's a URL and it just sells. Wholesale means that when it's sold online, it doesn't update the guest record based on the email because we're assuming that one person will be booking for multiple people. In this situation, you would hand out a custom URL with specific room type rate combos allocated to this agent, and then they could sell them to their clients. And every time they sell it, they would put in their email to say, we sold it. And that way it's not updating the guest record. A standard agent would be something off your website, and a website booking updates the guest ID based on that email address. So if the same guest is making bookings, they're overriding past guest information with that guest ID. So in those situations, that would be a wholesale. It just sort of unattaches the email address there. And then the promo is the last one. The promo is great because you can sell that on your website also. I'm going to leave this one where it was. With a promo agent, let me just go back here into agent relationships. This one here is set as a promo 15. So if I go to the promo 15, I can type in the word promo 15. Essentially, the ID becomes the promo code. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to click on the bookings tab and make an online booking. So that just opens in a new window and we can see promo code is right there. And it was promo 15. We'll just pick a night and check availability. And so what that's going to do is that's going to give me a rate that is then 15% discounted because the rate loading on that was minus 15. So we can see it still shows the room type rate combos that I put in that promo agent, but it discounts the rates by 15%. So if I were to do an email marketing, send out to my guests, return guests, and maybe my promo code is return. Return guests get 15% off. Then you put a minus 15 in the rate loading, and you can take care of that. It's just a slick way to sort of manage your property and your marketing using the agent relationship section. So the promo agent had just my standard room types and rate combos, but they were all discounted 15%. So it's just a nice way to kind of add that to your website. And if you wanted to do that, you'd first create the agent, first add the room type allocations, then any loading that you want to do, and then you would just go into your settings and the booking engine, because it only works on your website, and just promo codes, yes. So it's a pretty easy to turn it on for your website and start instantly offering discounts to guests that you've communicated with and provided them a promo code. And remember, the code they type in is going to be the agent ID. So under My Agents, whatever ID you put in, that's what they're going to have to type in the box. Okay? Another area that you're going to look at is going to be the net rate agents. And so with the net rate agents, these are going to be getting you into a broader distribution. The GDS puts you out into all the different channels. You have access to them. Whether those independent companies pick up your property to display on their site is really up to them at that point. We've had great success with a lot of locations, but some locations are highly, highly competitive. And without a net rate agreement, those sites might not show you, those online travel agencies. And in those cases, you might need to then sign up with them directly for what we call a net rate. And so what that is, you get an agreement with either Booking.com, Expedia, Priceline. You sign an agreement with them, and you offer them certain room types and rate combos, and then they send them to you via fax or email when they sell them. What Booking Center allows you to do then is then integrate that. So when those bookings happen, they import right to your software. Your software then controls the availability to those sites and those rates. So then you can manage them in your agent section. You can say Booking.com, I'm going to give them, in this case, they had one room type. Expedia, it looks like they're going to have multiple room types here. So you can then control either using your standard rates, or you can go to your default rates, create brand new rates. We have some properties that want to manage the rates in those channels. That way they have the ability to change them independently of their other rates. And doing that just allows you the option, again, more options. You wouldn't have to use rate loading then, because you'd be controlling that rate via the manage rate screen. But in this case, they're using standard king, so there's really no difference there. A 2 double at a corporate rate and a standard queen at the queen rate. But again, if you wanted to put in your own rate, you could then just click on the rates tab, go to your default rates, and create maybe a brand new rate for those distribution channels. And you could say, I'm going to add a single rate that I manage. I'm going to call it my GDS or my Booking.com. And we go BKG Queen. And this would be my BKG Queen rate. Put a space there. And it's for first two people. And it's going to be 150 all the time. And 10 for additionals. We save it. And so what that does is that just adds that rate in. So now I have a BKG king, or queen, excuse me, right there. So if I go to manage rates, I then have to manage that rate. I would have to control that rate on all my ups and downs throughout the system, throughout the year, if I allocated it to a room type for BKG. So if I went here and I then added it, my queen with my BKG queen rate, save it. So now I'm controlling the specific rate, and that rate room type combo isn't distributed anywhere else. It's only in this channel. So then I would have to manage that rate just like I manage all my standard rates. The other way to do it is to create a child rate. Using a child rate, you then can still only manage, like if we take a look here, we've got a child of the queen right here for AAA. So essentially what that does is I only have to manage my queen rate, and this rate here will always track it at a specific percentage of 10% less all the time. So I no longer have to manage the child rate under my manage rate screen, but it will always display at 10% less than my queen rate. So I'm only managing one rate. Again, a little bit of a time saver. So what you want to look at is with your agent allocations, there are room type rate combos being distributed in different channels. You can use a single rate plan per room type in all the channels if you'd like, and use your rate loading to then control them higher or lower based on which channel they're being distributed in. You can also create new rates and attach a specific rate to a room type and control the value in a channel by managing it throughout your year. What you can also do then is create your own rates, promo rates, wholesale agent rates, which are URLs you can give to other properties. What I like here is this king rate. This is a great one. All it is, if you look at it, it's only the king rooms. So it's just my standard kings. But what I might use something like this for is for my website. So on my website, maybe I have a link that says, click here for king rooms, click here to see all availability, click here for promos or for specials. And by doing that and creating a PMS agent, I can then control that little URL behind the button on my website to only display what I want it to display. So with this king one, let me give you an example of that. If I go to bookings and we look at the online booking URL, this is it right here. So by using a custom agent, it's always going to be the site ID plus the agent ID. So in that case, the agent ID was king. The site we're in is MyPMS DO. So I would go and agent equals PMS DO KING. So once you understand sort of how it's done, that's all you need to know. The rest of it's always there. It just presents itself. But if you can understand that add agent equals site ID plus agent ID, you can then control different links on your website to display different information. So if I go here, the page kind of looks the same when they go click it, but they're only going to see king rates. We don't need that in there. So if I check availability, it only displays my kings at the king rate that I gave it, or at a discount rate or an increased rate based on loading in the rate loading section. But what you can do is by using these custom URLs, you can kind of pare it down. And so that if people are clicking on a specific room type on your web page, you can only display that room type in the results. So that it gets a little more fine-tuned for them. So that's the beauty of using those custom URLs with these PMS agents. The promo code, they can click here for promo. It would be that same screen, but then they type in the promo code and they see the results. The king, if they click on the king types, they could just see the kings. Obviously, if you don't have anything, they see all your availability, which is also a great way to sell more in case you don't have something available. So I'd like to, at this point, open it up for questions. But essentially, I want to make sure everybody kind of gets that an agent distribution is really just a room type rate combo being sold in a specific channel. Any kind of rate loading, all it does is increase or decrease the rates sold in that channel. And using the rooms allocated, you can just determine which room type rate combos you want to sell. You can use the same rates on multiple room types. You can use multiple rates on the same room type. And you can build unique rates and then manage them so you have a better control in that channel if you'd like. Do you have any questions about the managing of your agent allocations and relationships? Okay, so
hi Dave, it's Veronique here. I have one question.
Yes.
I'm working a lot with the agents, and I'm working a lot with different promo codes, right? We're sending like an e-blast with a special for the month of May, let's say, for a room type.
Okay.
And I work with the promo codes like you have here, promo 15, and then I add the room types and then the rate loading, right? The only issue, what I have is that I know some of the people that are not going to stay in May, but they're going to stay in June, and then they're going to use that promo code, right? Because you're not able to put the travel dates, for example, right? Or how would you manage that? That the people are not able.
What you could do on something like that is you can actually using a unique rate, not just using one of your standard rates, you can make a rate close to arrival. So, or build it as a package. It's only available during certain times. Because once you build that package, even if there's nothing in it, it's just a dynamic package with no items. What would happen then is the package has date ranges that you can control when the package is valid. So if the package is only valid in the month of May and it's a dynamic package using your standard rate and there's no items, essentially you're then linking the room type to the package, which becomes
Right.
just like a rate plan, and it's only available
Okay.
during that month.
Right. So if we, for example, do every month an e-blast with a special promo code, and I have to create either another rate or a package every time I do
You
something.
would, yeah. But you could reuse a
Okay.
rate, like you could use your special rate and just have it close to arrival
Right.
for everything except the month you want people to arrive in.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the next month comes, you just change your close to arrivals, you open it up for the next month. Because obviously they're not going to be able to book in the past. So you just would then
No.
go to manage rates and open up your close to arrival for the next month.
Okay.
So then you're
Ah.
limiting them to only be able to book within that 30 days in front of you. That might be an easy way to do it as well.
Okay.
Does
Okay.
that make
Thanks.
sense? Because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Okay.
go to
So just
rates, go to manage
uh,
rates. We just like pick our queen rate as an example, set our date to the end of the month, display it, and then you could do close to arrival for everything beyond the 31st, but up to the 31st, you just open it and save it. And then from the 31st forward, and then just set it to like 2016, right? Just so you know that it's going to be blocked out, and then you just mark it as closed.
yeah. The only thing is, if people just want to book another month, this room, they're not able to book it either, right?
Well, once you close this to arrival from the end of the month, or maybe we set this date to the first of the next month, right? We would set it to June 1st. So from June 1st all the way into the future for a couple of years, they cannot book this rate. You'd save it like
No.
that. And then once you wanted to start the new one for June, you would obviously just change the date here. I'm trying to make this simple, but you would change the date to the end of the month like that, and then you would open it and save it. So essentially, you'd be
Okay.
opening up the month because it would be closed all the time otherwise.
Right. So the best thing, like you mentioned before, the best thing is to create another rate or
Yeah,
another package,
you
and
wouldn't
then
want to use it
allocate
on
that
yeah you
one.
wouldn't want to use it on your normal rates because then they would also be closed at your normal
Right.
values. So I would just create like one like your promo rate for the queen or whatever the room type is, and you could just reuse it every month. So you still manage it; it goes up and down in that month, but every month when you get to it, you could determine what the rate's going to be and how long it's going to be open for. And then you
Okay.
attach it in your promo.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Okay,
Yes, thanks.
you're welcome.
Um, Hello?
Yes.
So, what if on your relationship and you're looking on your setup page and your agent relationship, there isn't anything, but we are working with Expedia? Why aren't they showing in our booking center?
A lot of properties are selling rooms through Expedia, through Booking.com, through those different channels via the GDS. So this is Agent WR, and this is essentially your global distribution. This puts you out into all those different channels: travel agent networks, online travel agency networks. That would be Expedia, Booking.com, Priceline, travel agents. Um, and they can pull your information because you're in those channels and they can put you on their page and sell. Now, if you have a direct relationship with them, which means you signed a contract with them, agreed to allocate a certain number of rooms to them at a certain rate, that would be that you would then have these net rate agents. And once you sign that agreement, they're going to start sending you stuff via fax or an email directly, and it won't go through
Mm-hmm.
Booking Center until you map it and integrate it with Booking Center.
So, how do you do that?
You would
Because
have to just sign up,
because,
say that you
huh?
contact our sales department, say, hey, I already have this agreement with Booking.com, or I want to start an agreement with Booking.com and I want to manage it through my Booking Center software.
Okay, well, I think we already, well, we do already have because we're getting faxes, but it's just like it's not linked with you guys.
Right. If you're getting faxes, that means you're on their extranet, which means you're managing it independently of Booking Center.
Okay.
So to manage it with Booking Center, you just need to contact the sales department and just tell them what you want to do, and they will add the agent in and get a tech to get everything mapped for you.
So the benefit of that would just be that I would be able to control the rates?
Correct. Well, yeah, then you would be able to manage your availability and rates through your booking center software. So you're not managing it in there. You're not logging into booking.com and saying, oh, I don't have rooms on this day. I sold these on my website. I sold these over the phone, close that one out. Oh, here's my rates. It's because right now you're doing it in both systems.
Well, what the problem that we're running into is like people will go on TripAdvisor and it looks like we're booked and we're not. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's getting into agreements with all those different entities.
So you have to call each one.
Yeah, you kind of, they're all independent companies, but we can interface into all of them so that your single rate and availability that you have in Booking Center software manages all those different channels.
So who do I need to contact to do to just be a headache?
Well, obviously you'd want to talk to the different companies that you want the agreement with. Sounds like you already have one going. They're faxing you. But then you want to talk to either Rebecca to set it up or Jeff here at Booking Center to go ahead and set that up. Okay. So a quick call into, I think it's extension 201 sales, and just let them know what you're looking to do. Say, hey, I'm already getting faxes from booking.com as an example. I want to integrate that. Also TripAdvisor, I want to get that integrated. They can definitely get you pointed in the right direction there.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
I just have a 9-room B&B, and I get Expedia, I'll get Travelocity, and I don't know how they're booking. The owners don't know this. I've only been here about 6 months, and I kind of taught myself your system with the big enormous manual that you have. What I'm wondering is, why are these people the owners? Why are we paying everybody? I mean, I know we pay you guys some kind of percentage thing, but we're doing like Expedia and Travelocity and Orbitz, and when they book, and this is just a 9-bedroom B&B, but they don't leave me these people's phone number. I can't even connect to these people to confirm their rooms or anything until they're here, which is kind of a pain in the neck because we're very isolated where we are in Sun Valley, Idaho, extremely isolated.
Okay,
so
Gabrielle.
When they don't show, well, I don't know who to blame.
Okay, so Gabrielle, so here's the deal. It sounds like you're getting all of your distribution through the GDS, which is a very anonymous distribution channel. Okay, right. So when a booking comes through the GDS, it's going to get booked on online travel sites. It's going to get booked by travel agents. But they're only going to send you, obviously, the information about the booking, room type, or rate they booked, credit card, and a guest name. That's it. They're not going to give you any guest contact because it's their guest. It's not your guest until they stay with you. It's just the way those anonymous channels are, and it's, they're independent businesses trying to hold on to their guests as long as they can. Now, what you can do is contact the agent itself. It can feel a little bit like jumping through hoops, but if you get a good agent at the other end of the phone, they can really help you out. If you need to have that guest contact for, a key drop or a late check-in or something like that. But it takes a little bit of time and it takes some persistence to get that information. Now, if you sign up with a direct connect, one of these net rates, you say, look, I'm tired of the GDS as a general. I don't mind it being out there, but I'd rather be, Booking.com and Expedia specifically for most of those bookings. If you sign an agreement with them and those bookings come in, you can log into those companies. You'll have your own login to those companies, and you'll get a lot more guest information out of that. The bookings will still import in. You can still get the bookings quickly online, and they just show up. You get the email. But then if you want to go back and you need to contact the guest, they'll have a guest profile that you can log in and see.
I see. Okay. So I more or less need to tell the owners, listen, we need to go to Expedia and register with those guys, and to Travelocity each one?
If you want, I mean, or you can just continue to get the anonymous bookings. You know, if someone doesn't show, you should still have a credit card, and your policy, whatever that no-show or cancellation policy is, would still be in effect. I mean, it's still a valid booking if you have a valid credit card there.
I see.
You're just not going to be able to contact your guests prior to arrival.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thank you so much.
Oh,
That
you're
really
welcome.
answers a lot for me.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hard just having a little bitty place, but you know, I'm trying to learn this so I can teach the owners
Well,
how
you
to
know,
use
another thing
this.
you might want to do then is on your WR agent. So when you go to your relationships, agent relationships, click on your
Uh-huh.
allocations into that channel, and you
Uh-huh.
might want to reduce it down a little. By just hitting delete, you can remove a room type out of there, and then you can click add and put in the specific one that you want. So you can say, I want this room type rate combo sold in that channel, but I don't want
Oh,
this one. Right? So you can
oh,
remove. So
okay.
you can say, I only want to sell 6 of my 9 in that. Is there any other questions on how to manage those different room type rate combos in your different channels out there?
If I understand correctly, for being able to manage, we've got a lot of special events that happen in our area, and we have minimum nights. And out on the distribution channel, I want to do more night blocking, where I'll offer them. Let's say I'm doing a 3-night minimum, but out on the distribution channel, I want to do 4 or 5-night minimums on those weeks. Is the only way to manage that is to have that totally separate rate schedule.
It is, yeah. You would want to create a distribution rate. So you'd have your normal rate, let's call it Queen, and then you'd have a either GDS or distribution because it goes to all your different channels. Maybe a GDS Queen rate. And so on your GDS Queen rate, you can set different restrictions, and you can then attach that to, both, like a Booking.com and EQR and your GDS.
So if I understand, I can have that separate GDS rate, and then when I'm adding like the separate areas like Expedia or Booking.com, I can have the GDS at, let's say, the 15%, and then I can do Booking.com, let's say, at 10%, and Expedia Direct at like 13%. Is that correct?
Whatever your agreement is with those companies, yeah, you should be able to set it up based on that criteria. And that way they're sharing the same restrictions, but they're being sold at different values.
Okay. Yeah, but I can still use that same GDS area I set up and just manage those line items separately with the plus and minus.
Absolutely.
The rate loading area.
Absolutely. That's a really smart way to do it, actually.
Okay.
Okay, folks. I am going to wrap this up, and I will get this recording posted to our website. And I think I will have Erica send an email, just a follow up to all of you, so you can get the link and look it over if you have, if you want to view it again. But I think that's it, unless I have any further questions here.
I would like to have one more question about the promo piece. With the promo code, I was a little unclear. If I set a promo code up and I want a time frame blacked out, can I black that promo code out for a specific time frame? The
promo code, the way you would want to use that is it's attached to a rate. So it's going to have the rate restrictions would then control the timing. Okay? Unless you use a package as the rate for the promo. Packages have times built onto them.
Okay.
So when you're building a package, you set a time frame when that package is valid. And then by using dynamic, it's just using whatever the rate of the day is. Okay? So that's one way to kind of control that. And then you just choose the room type to whatever that package ID is, apply it to your promo, send out a newsletter. Hey, between these dates, you can book at a discount. Okay. But that's not controlling when they can arrive. The question we had earlier is I want to control when they arrive. So that's then creating a rate plan where you do a close to arrival on the dates out beyond the dates you want them to arrive. Once it's closed, it's just closed. They can only show up in these days.
Okay.
And if you think about it, if you combine the two, building a new rate plan, using that as a dynamic package rate, and then selling your dynamic package, you've then controlled when they can book it as well as the dates they can arrive during it. All right, everyone. It was a pleasure. We hope to have more of these webinars in the future on some different topics. But I thought this was a good one to get started with. And I hope you all have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, everyone.